Hi everybody, Eric Dorward here with the Spartan Rocketry Club, continuing our build of the Rocketarium Phoenix model rocket. And we should probably finish up with construction today. There are a couple outstanding things that need to be done. First and foremost, I think we will glue the launch lugs onto this thing. Now, there are two separate launch lugs, and just like everything else in this kit, there are little etchings somewhere. Here we are on this side that show us where they're supposed to go. So there's one right here at the back, and there's one up inside of the main fin. So I'm going to apply glue here. I'm going to try to apply some glue here. There we go. I'm not going to do the two layers that we've been doing for the most part here because it's just a launch lug. It's probably overkill to do that, but I am going to spread this out a little bit because it didn't quite go on as smoothly or evenly or something as it could have. The top one looks like it goes right here. And again, these are awfully hard to see. So it wouldn't be the world's worst idea if you're doing this to get yourself a pencil and go over the lines because that is not on straight. There we go. Same deal with the other one. This one hopefully will be a bit easier to apply because it's going at the back. Okay. That out of the way. And this one is just going to go right back. Actually, it looks like it doesn't quite go to the end. That's interesting. Close to it. All right. Now, there are a variety of ways you could test to make sure that you have applied these in line. First and foremost would be probably to just look down the barrel, and they look pretty good to me this way. But let's be a little bit more exacting. Here's a ruler, and just make sure that they line up nicely, and they do. You could, of course, also go get yourself your launch rod and run it through both of them in order to make sure that it's going to line up right. So that's definitely an option as well. I'm reasonably satisfied with this. Okay, so last but not least, when it comes to the actual build here, is this bag of little pieces. There are a total of 8 of these, and I'm not entirely sure that these are structural. In fact, I'm pretty sure they're not. I believe these are just decorative, but they are referred to as support planes in this. And essentially what they're going to do, I'm going to flip this over, is they're going to go in like this at the base and look like attachment points. Now, the trick to this, there is one, is that these are we're going to purposely like warp them. So they're going to go in the corners here, but then they're going to be warped around the curve of the body tube. They are very thin, so I should be able to deform them just by pushing on them. So the instructions say these pieces are very flexible, so when gluing them, shape them to the curvature of the tube and hold them in place for a minute or two until the glue dries. And then it also says that once the glue is completely dry, that I should run a thin bead of glue along the aft fin tube joint, so back here. Not entirely sure why just there, but okay, I can certainly do that. So I'm going to take the glue and I'm going to put some just kind of down the middle of this, and then I'm going to spread this out evenly and thinly. In fact, I probably have too much glue on this as it is right now, but that's okay because I can certainly just remove the excess as I'm going. There we go. All right. Now, there is, of course, an up well, an up and a down, but not exactly. Right. So this could go either on this side or on this side. They're going to be mirror images of each other. So just be careful about where you're putting the glue. I'm going to put this right in the corner, like so. And I really want it down in that corner more than anything else. So squished. There's plenty of excess glue here. So I'm going to get rid of some of that before I worry about squishing things. But you can see it's starting to peel out of that corner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just use as many of my fingers as I can and just push down as widely as I can in with this piece. And as the instructions say, I'm going to have to hold it here for a while the wood deforms. Now the good news is because we put glue on it, it is prone to warping, and it's prone to warping in the direction of the glue. So the glue itself will be somewhat helpful in accomplishing this goal here. But I definitely need to give this time in order for the glue to start to tack. Now, this particular glue is like, yeah, it says, I don't know, a minimum of 30 minutes to clamp it in place. Well, certainly I'm not going to do that, but it should be pretty well tacked after 2 minutes tops. Even a minute probably should be enough to hold it. But the type of glue I'm using here too is designed to have a faster set time than some of the other glue choices, which is good. All right, so let's see how things are doing here. Looking down, it's kind of hard to tell if this is warped or the glue itself is warped in the direction that I want to go, but it is, oh, it's pulled away. That's not great. It's pulled away from where I wanted it to be. That is a problem that needs to be addressed. Yeah, I don't know exactly when that happened, but yeah, that's not acceptable. It might be that the way I was holding it was pulling it away, but I don't think so exactly. It might have just been a process that I don't know. But regardless, it's bad. Couldn't be left like that. So it's a good thing that I didn't hold it any longer, or if it would have been permanently set that way, it would have been ugly at best and completely defeated the purpose of all this. All right. That looks better. Unfortunately, I made a bit of a glue mess because the glue was out a bit farther, so I'm going to have to clean in there. But I can't really, I could try to get a little bit of water or something. It's still a little tacky, so some of it will scrape off. But yeah, it's not great, but I've had worse problems. All right, the one noticeable thing here is because this edge right here, right at the front, this is a straight line, and I've tapered this. There is a little gap in here, which is kind of unfortunate, but I'm not entirely sure what the alternative there would have been. So, yeah, kind of unavoidable. That's okay. I think what I'll probably end up doing is put a fillet in here anyway, and that ought to deal with the fact that there's a little bit of separation there. All right, let's do one more of these. We'll do the other side. So don't just put glue like this. You got to think about what you're doing here. So I'm going to put glue on the other face of it so that this piece goes where I want it to go. Spreading the glue out thin again here. Probably could have used a little bit more and then brushed it off. But it's definitely important to get the edges. And while the middle might not be as important usually because we're trying to warp this, we do want to get it, we do want the glue thoroughly applied. Okay. Got a little bit of glue on my left hand. Don't need that, so I've cleaned it off. Okay. So let's give this, flip this around, and I'm going to try to push inward this time, so hopefully it won't pull apart like the last time. Okay. Oops, I just bumped the launch lug. That's a royal pain. I'm going to have to completely have to recheck that. That's a real pain. Fortunately, it's just a launch lug. They're generally pretty easy to take care of. Double check with my ruler here. Yeah, looks pretty good. All right, anyway, yeah, maybe in the future, like, don't try to do these two things at once. But overall, I'm going to do my best not to bump the launch lug from this point on, but I'm also going to push this down to make sure that this is warping in the way that I want it to, and that it is setting. Really want to bump that launch lug. My thumb has brushed it twice now, which is not great. Not super great. All right, let's see how that did. And again, it looks like it is pulling apart a little bit from where I want it to be. So I'm gonna just kind of squish it down as best as I can. That's not too bad. I mean, it's not as bad as the first one, what it looked like. Yeah, that's all right. This definitely needs a fillet anyway at the end of the day. And it looks like it has deformed, it has warped a little bit to take the shape of the tube. So it's not that bad. All right, this, obviously there's 6 more of these. You do not need to watch each and every one of them. That would be painfully boring. So I'm going to do those off camera. The last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to harden the edge that I've made here. And in order to do that, I'm going to get myself a little bit of CA glue. CA glue, of course, is, well, it's rough stuff. So be careful with it. You should not be using it unless you are an adult or, I don't know, under really quite extensive adult supervision here. My bottle is pretty old, kind of cruddy, and tends to get clogged. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a very thin layer along, probably not this part right here, but the main edge right here. And I'm going to use the applicator, it's the tip of this thing anyway, to brush it out to make sure it is thin and not gloppy in any particular place. The point in doing this, by the way, of course, is I already had a little bit of issue with the fin kind of getting feathered from sanding. So once you've gotten these things down to a point, it is somewhat fragile and is not something you want to just leave to chance. CA glue is quite good at hardening things, and hopefully that will be what we've accomplished here. It'll also make it a little bit easier to not lose the edge of this thing when I start applying various things to to clean up the wood grain and such, so the wood fill and the sanding sealer. I should be able to sand down to that edge with the CA glue on it more easily than if it weren't there at all. All right, so of course, be careful with that. I'm going to apply the CA glue as I go, so one edge at a time after I've put these little, what are they called, support plates on. So, yeah. All right, that's as much as I'm going to do on camera here. This probably could use a little bit of glue, but the fillet probably will take care of that. Overall, pretty good, I think. So in between this video and the next, I will apply the remaining supports, all 6 of them. I will finish hardening these. I'm not going to harden any of this because it's unnecessary. It doesn't need it. But yeah, and then after that, it looks like it is time to work on finishing. So I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.